Good morning. Welcome to Unity of Port St. Lucie Sunday service, to all you beautiful looking people here and everybody at home on YouTube. Please stand and join us in singing our opening song, One Light.
One light brings us all together. One light inside you and me. One light shines in every person that I see. It's the light that shines inside of me. One light brings us all together. One light inside you and me. One light shines in every person that I see. It's the light that shines inside of me. It's the light that shines inside of me.
I invite you to sit back, relax, take a deep breath in, hold it for a second or two or three, let it go. Let go of all our troubles and cares as we join our hearts and minds together in our prayer for inner peace. Creator of all that is, I open my heart and mind this morning to the presence of God that is within me and in everyone and everything, that one power and one presence. I let God's peace fill my being. In this presence, I am peaceful, poised, confident, and strong. I relax in God's loving care and release all my cares, knowing that God is upholding me and sustaining me in all that I do. God's presence calms me, quiets the storms around me, and leads me to a place of perfect peace. As I center myself in that peaceful presence this morning, I let go of every concern and relax in the safety of God's love and in the love of those around me. I find Unity of Port St. Lucie a sanctuary of love and peace, and I am open and receptive to receive all it has to soothe my mind and soul this day. And so it is. Amen. Please join me in saying our mission statement to develop our spiritual connection with God through prayer, education, and service. And our vision, Unity of Port St. Lucie, is an expanding community for personal healing and spiritual growth. And it's the first Sunday, so who are September babies here? Anybody here in the audience? Okay, well, we're going to sing anyway to everybody.
The virtual birthdays.
Yeah, the virtual birthdays.
Happy birthday to you. A happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Then if you would please stand and join us in our congregational song, Happy Day.
I'm glad to. to wake this happy day. I'm glad to see you here with me. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. Sing with me. I'm blessed to see this happy day. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. Sing with me. I'm blessed to see this happy day. My heart is filled with love from God. Prosperity's been given me. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. Sing with me. I'm glad to see this happy day. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. Sing with me. I'm blessed to see this happy day. Come follow me, I have the light. If you fall down, I'll pick you up. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. Sing with me. I'm blessed to see this happy day. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. Sing with me. I'm blessed to see this happy day. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. Sing with me. I'm blessed to see this happy day.
Miss Jada is going to read our daily word today.
Good morning, everyone. Today's daily word is balance. Work can be a fulfilling use of my talents and efforts. I may enjoy the challenge of growing and responsibility in using my ambition to accomplish great things. But if I work too much for too long, my energy might start to wane, and my thinking become dull and uninspired. Likewise, to my leisure time may rob me of motivation and pull me into a spiral of inactivity. Spiritual practices bring precious balance into my life. Through prayer, I touch eternity and feel the presence of God within. Through meditation, I focus my mind and feel calm and grounded. Through speaking affirmations, I claim divine ideas and active inspiration. In gratitude, I find balance in God, the one presence, and one power in my life. Please repeat today's affirmation. With God, I live a better balance.
I noticed she had some canine accompaniment. That was nice. As we prepare for meditation with Reverend Linda Machezik, please join us as we sing Surely the Presence.
Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. There's a holy rush around us
Yes, friends, surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. Let's breathe into that reality right now. Join me, if you will, by closing your eyes, wherever you are, here, at home. Close your eyes and relax. Relax as deeply as you can. Let go of any need to hold on to any idea right now. Release it. Free it. Send it off with a nice deep breath. Release any tension you might be holding in your body. You check in with your neck and your shoulders. Relax them. Relax. Allow your mouth to become soft and your eyes. Focus on your breath. Feel the coolness of it as you take it in, and the warmth of it as you release it again. The message for today is about divine order, one of our spiritual powers. So I share with you this meditation written by Reverend Linda in her book, Divine Audacity. I share it with you now so that each of us awakens the spiritual power of order in our lives. Assuming a familiar posture, supportive of meditation, we focus our attention on the splendid order in our body temples. Bone, muscle, skin, vortexes of nerves and energy cells, all organized for physical vitality, for strength, the support of life itself. Breath flowing in and out effortlessly. Heart beating rhythmically, steadily, faithfully. We celebrate divine order. Concentrating our attention within our bodies. Behind our navel, we activate our body's center for order. We shine the olive green light of order around our digestive organs and throughout the integrated, linked, and well-ordered systems in our bodies. Order is our name. Order is our nature. We are the power of order, by which we connect with our innate sense of direction. We naturally attune to the magnificent source, the one mind from which all ideas flow. We catch divine ideas and we bring them into manifestation by the power of order. We are the adjusting power of order, easily sensing where to place our attention and easily adjust our mindset or correct our course of action. We are the evolving power of order, awakened to our ever unfolding consciousness. We incorporate the best of our past into our present, and we reach naturally toward a fuller and more enlightened future. By the power of order, we follow the clear path. We go through the open door. We choose an orderly course of thought and action. We bring about, moment by moment, choice by choice, in divine order. Let us sit with that realization, friends, for a few moments together in the silence. And now very slowly and very gently, we begin to return our attention to the outer, but before doing so, we take a moment, for we are joined together now as one heart, one mind. We are focused on the truth of our being. We are sitting and standing in our power. We are celebrating divine order. And so together we pray, saying, Father, Mother God, thank you for this opportunity for us to pray as one mind, with one heart. We send our love and our support out all around the globe to people everywhere, who need loving support. Let it be us right now. Right now, we lift them up, each and every one. Lift them up. Lift them up with the light of love shining directly from our hearts to theirs. People everywhere. Thank you, God, for this virus which is transforming as we stand here today, as we speak, transforming into an entity that does no harm. We are so grateful for the transformation, so grateful for this opportunity to pray. And so it is, and so we let it be. We open our eyes and we sing together as one mind with one heart about the power of love.
We are one in the love. We are one in the band of love. We Spirit with the Spirit of God. We are one in the bond of love.
We are one in the bond of love. Thank you, one and all. Good morning, everyone. See, we lost our furry friend, at least temporarily. I don't see. If you're out there, Ginger, we welcome you home. It's good to have you back, along with your little friend whose name I forget. I apologize for that. She'll get used to us, right? Not Ginger, but the furry friend. Ginger's already used to us. She's already used to us. So today my talk is about the power of order. There she is. What's her name, darling? I forget. What is it? Bocce. That's right. Like bocce ball. Yeah. She'll get used to us, honey. Yeah. So today I want to talk about the power of order. Unity Worldwide is focusing this year on our spiritual powers. There being 12 of them. Each month is dedicated to another spiritual power. And so this month of September is all about the power of order. And I love that image I found on Shutterstock. I just adore it because I don't know about you, but sometimes my brain feels like it's that one on the left, you know? all the thoughts in there are tangled up, apparently, you know? You ever feel that way yourself? So what do? Well, we get a handle on it, right? We bring it into order, just like that image suggests. I really love that. Most of you know that on Monday nights we've been conducting a Bible study class. We've been having a great deal of fun. You're welcome to join us at any time except this coming Monday, which is Labor Day, and we're not meeting. Otherwise, we'll be here for you. And this past week, we looked at one of my favorite Jesus stories of all. Really, I just love the story so much for what it teaches us, for what it has taught me, and continues to teach me every time I think about it, and certainly when I talk about it. So I want to share it with you a little bit today as I talk about order. It's the story about Jesus being in the wilderness and being tempted by the devil or Satan or the tempter, depending on which version of the Bible you read. It's called many different things. But before I jump into it, I apologize for not mentioning this. The color of order is olive green, and there is a bowl on the back table of olive green stones. So feel free to take one with you if you're creating an altar at home with your spiritual power colors on them. The disciple is, I can't read it from here. Is it James? Yeah, that big screen's still waiting to be put up, I think. Yeah. I'm just saying. And as we heard in the meditation, the location of that power center is behind the navel, you know, the ganglia of all those nerves in our abdominal area, the place where our stomach kind of operates out of. So that's a little bit about the nature of the spiritual power of order. So before I go there, I want to talk about this Bible story, and I don't usually do this, but today I am. I'm going to start by reading it to you, just so I'm sure everybody is remembering the details of the same story. And I'm going to read it from one of my favorite editions of the Bible. I discovered this edition when I was in seminary, and the first time I heard anyone read from it, I was taken back because I was so used to the language of the King James Version and even the New Revised Standard Version that when I first heard a story out of this one, I was like, wait a minute, that's not the Bible, right? Well, that was before I realized just how many different translations and editions exist in the universe. This particular edition was written by a pastor. His name was Eugene Peterson. He passed away a couple years ago. Remarkable man. I did a little research into his background, and I was interested myself. So first of all, he started out by receiving his bachelor's in philosophy. And I forget which university, but one of the very famous universities in our country. And then he attended New York Theological Seminary, which is one of the most respected theological seminaries in our country. And there he received a second bachelor's degree, this time in sacred theology, believe it or not. And then he wasn't done. He went on to Johns Hopkins University and received his master's degree in Semitic language. So he was well qualified to translate Bibles from ancient language into contemporary language. In fact, he worked as a professor of Bible for years and years at the New York Theological Seminary. And then ultimately he left that and became pastor of a Presbyterian church, and he did that for another 20 years. After he retired, he spent 10 years writing his own version of the Bible. 10 years. He was asked to do it, actually, because his passion was the Bible. And he said that over the years that he spent ministering to people, he realized that a lot of people had never read it. They weren't interested in ever reading it. They never wanted to hear about it again. And so his passion was to take it and rewrite it in a way that would be reader-friendly for people. So the language is very contemporary, 10 years. He received several awards for this particular edition of the Bible, and it's quite remarkable. So if you bear with me, you're going to get a taste of it, and I know it's going to sound different to you than what you're used to, but it's all good. Let me just remind you, it's all good. So this is the story. Can you hear me all right if I move over a little bit? Sound okay? Okay. So this is from Matthew, and this happens to be chapter 4. Next, Jesus was taken into the wild by the Spirit for a test. The devil was going to give it. Jesus prepared for the test by fasting 40 days and 40 nights. That left him, of course, in a state of extreme hunger, which the devil took advantage of on the first test. Since you are God's son, speak the word that'll turn all these stones into loaves of bread. Jesus answered the devil by quoting Deuteronomy. It takes more than bread to stay alive. It takes a steady stream of words from God's mouth. For the second test, the devil took Jesus to the holy city. He sat him on top of the temple and said, "Since you're God's son, jump." The devil goaded him by quoting Psalms 91. He has placed you in the care of angels. They will catch you so that you won't so much as stub your toe. Jesus countered with another citation from Deuteronomy. Don't you dare test God. For the third test, the devil took him to the peak of a huge mountain. He gestured expansively, pointing out all the earth's kingdoms, pointing out how glorious they were. And he said, "They're all yours. Lock, stock, and barrel. Just go on down on your knees and worship me." And Jesus' refusal was curt. "Beat it, Satan." He backed his rebuke with a third quotation from Deuteronomy. Worship the Lord your God and only him. Serve him with absolute single-heartedness. The test was over. The devil left. And in his place, angels came and took care of all of Jesus' needs. There you've had your first experience from the Message Bible. How was it for you? Different, right? Yeah. But you can understand how it's become so widely popular. So in Unity, we don't interpret any Bible story literally, including that one. We just don't waste our time doing that. We look for a metaphysical interpretation. Metaphysical, remember, means beyond the literal. So we look beyond the literal. And we do that because they're stories. They're stories. They're stories that were written as allegories, metaphors, parables. Stories told first and then written down to make a point, to instruct us, to inspire us, to encourage us. Stories just like, Cinderella. Stories like Snow White. Stories like All the stories written about Scrooge, Alice in Wonderland, Princess Fiona, Superman, Spider-Man, Tarzan, Harry Potter, Wolverine, Iron Man. Stories, friends. Stories that teach and inspire and instruct, encourage and provide hope. Stories. And the same way that we identify with superheroes in all of those, or heroines in each of those stories, the very same way that we identify with those heroes and heroines, we identify, hopefully, with the character, the main character, in fact, all the characters in this story. That's the fun of Bible interpretation. So just like Jesus, you and I, all of us, go into the wilderness regularly. We go into the wilderness whenever we're racked with doubt and confusion, or fear, hopelessness, or all of the above. Sometimes I'm experiencing all of the above simultaneously. Not very often, but I do. It happens. How about you? Anybody can relate to that? Of course. Jesus, by the way, went there in this book. He goes there right after he's baptized and called to begin his ministry. The very next thing that happens is he goes into the wilderness. Well, so would I. If I'd been called to start such a ministry, I'm sure, quite sure, that I would spend a little time in the wilderness dealing with all my doubts and all my fears and all my anxiety. Such a perfectly understandable result of getting such news and saying yes to such a thing. So just like Jesus, we become overwhelmed by any ideas that draws us out of our comfort zone into something new. Maybe in our case, it's being called up to forgive somebody that we think is unforgivable, or forgive them for something that we can't imagine we would ever forgive them for. Has that ever been a challenge for you? Yes, of course. Maybe you've been called up to love someone who's a seeming enemy, someone that you absolutely positively have decided is not lovable. Can you relate to that? Yeah, of course you can. So when we're called up to do that, we spend some time in the wilderness before we actually step out and do it. Not always. Sometimes we step out and do it, but we don't always do that because we're human beings. In the wilderness, when we're there, we're parched and we're hungry for answers, for direction, for validation, comfort, relief from our doubts, the daunting idea of moving out of our comfort zone into something else. In the wilderness, we're overwhelmed by thoughts that are running out of control, like that one image that I showed you, with all those thoughts jumbled up and out of control in our heads. And just like Jesus, when we're in the wilderness, we are tempted to say no to doing the thing that we're called to do. I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm tempted to sit on my duffus and eat a pint of Ben & Jerry's rather than do the thing that's mine to do. See, Ellie raised her hand immediately. And enough of you are laughing that I know you can relate to what I just said, or maybe for you it's a sleeve of Oreo cookies, I don't know, bag of chips, whatever it is. Or sometimes, if we're being called up to do something that makes us uncomfortable, something that we intuitively know that we really want to do, that we're going to do, but we resist it for a while. You get that, right? So sometimes when we're called up to do that, we decide to just go ahead and bite the bullet and do it. And we ignore all those doubts. We ignore those doubts. And what happens when we ignore those doubts? They come up again, and they come up again, and they come up again until what? Well, in my experience, until we shine light on them, until we accept them, until we acknowledge them. There's no sense in kidding ourselves, friends. We are not perfect. I don't even know what that looks like. We have glorious imperfections, and doubting ourselves is one of them, maybe at the top of the list. Jesus' first consideration in this wilderness story is to satisfy his hunger with food and be satisfied what? Temporarily. Temporarily. It's a temporary fix. He responds by responding himself that food alone will not satiate him. It never does. Not for very long. So it is with us. Some of us use food, others alcohol, others caffeine, drugs of some kind or sort. It's difficult, isn't it, to say no to such temporary numbness, temporary relief, when the alternative is stepping up and doing something that might be difficult, something scary. Jesus' second consideration when he's in the wilderness is whether to allow the temptations that he's dealing with up here, because all of this is going on up here. There's not really a devil sitting there or standing there. It's all going on up here. There's no such thing as the devil. We don't believe that. We don't interpret these stories literally. It's going on right here. We have those conversations all the time, don't we? Yes? Yeah. Yeah, curl up and take a nap sometimes is a better solution than dealing with it, right? So his second consideration is whether to allow those temptations to go ahead and take the reins and rule his life. Just ignore that divine call, that call to some action that makes him feel uncomfortable, that frightens him. And so it is with us, friends. We're in the habit, I think, of denying our own doubts and fears and misgivings. I think that's a habit that some of us have developed. We deny them. We deny those feelings because they're not lovely. Because in unity, we've gotten into the habit of saying it's all good. So we just put it behind us and move on. Well, I don't know. I've been around long enough that I can tell you without any reservation whatsoever that that's not a good idea. It's not a good idea at all. The final temptation that Jesus considers in the wilderness is to give in to the doubts and fears and allow them to go ahead and have their way with him. We all have these same experiences. Jesus is the superhero in this story. The devil is that voice inside of him that's arguing with that other voice inside of him. You know the ones, right? Yes, I'm going to do it. No, I'm not going to do it. Yes, I should do it. Oh my God, it's scary. That kind of thing. Now, how long do we do that? How long do we keep it up? The fantastic thing is this story says 40 days. The numerological explanation for the number 40, definition for the number 40 is as long as it takes. The number 40 was used here on purpose, friends, by people who knew such things about numbers, who assigned meaning to numbers and used numbers in their stories to stand for something. And that's what we do. We take as long as it takes to work it out. I hope we take as long as it takes. I know some of you do. It might take months. It might take years in some cases. It depends what's going on. But denying it, ignoring it, or stuffing ourselves full of temporary distractions is no way to get around it. Because we can't get around it. It's part of us. It's part of us. It's part of who we are. It's part of what makes each of us so wonderful. Those doubts, those anxieties. They're uniquely ours. They're beautiful. Once you name them that and embrace them, your life will begin to change. And then you practice calling them that until you actually mean it. And then your life really begins to change. Every part of you is precious. Every single solitary thing about you. John Legend wrote a song, and I can't remember all the words to it as I stand here, but it's about the fact that we all have imperfections. And we love ourselves, every single solitary imperfection. Whenever we miss the mark, we love ourselves even more. It's a nice habit to get into. I recommend practicing it. It's very tempting, isn't it, not to do the thing we're called to do. I taught poetry many years ago, wrote poetry for many years, haven't written any lately. One of my favorite poems of all times is one written by Robert Frost. It's called The Road Less Traveled. Yeah, The Road Less Traveled. And this is just one phrase from that poem. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Yeah. And sometimes we're called to take the road less traveled by, and that will make all the difference because we're called to do it. When we listen to that still small voice, whatever it sounds like, that nudge that goes on, when we listen to it, and we own whatever anxiety we might have about listening to it, miraculous things happen. We have to learn, friends, to embrace all of our doubts and fears, just like the hero in this story did. That's what this story is about. What it's like to doubt yourself. What it's like to be scared of doing something, whatever it is. What is it like, and how do we handle it? Will you take as long as it takes to be with all of those feelings? At the end of this story, I think it's marvelous because in the story, it says at the very end, the angels showed up to take care of all of his needs. So just as our superhero decided to go ahead and answer the call, and his thoughts were all lined up, they were in order. He had control over them. He was master of them. When all of that happened, the angels swooped in to take care of him. Well, that's a way of saying that things will fall into perfect order for us when we do the same thing. Seeming miracles will happen. Have you ever been in the flow? Of course you have. When things just seem to line up miraculously. The exact amount of money you needed to pay a bill shows up. The person that you've been thinking about talking to calls you. All those things happen in the right and perfect time for a reason. Seeming miracles when we're in the flow. This story is all about order, friend. This story illustrates how order shows up in our evolution, in our thought processes. This story is about divine order. It shows us how we struggle sometimes to express our Christ nature more fully. Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore said that the personal consciousness must be disciplined and tested before it can become master of thoughts. The personal consciousness must be disciplined and tested before it can master our thoughts. This story demonstrates how that happens. The process is divine order. This is what divine order is. I grew up in Pennsylvania, friends. And at the bottom of the yard in my mother's home, in the home in which I was raised, there was a bank along the railroad tracks. There was a railroad tracks at the bottom, way back behind our property at the bottom of our yard. There was a bank of forsythia bushes. And every single solitary spring, that was the first sign that spring was coming. The first sign was those forsythia bushes just burst into the most incredibly beautiful yellow color ever. I miss those signs. In Florida, our seasonal signs are very subtle. In Florida, the sign of spring is some kind of dust on the hood of my car. And in all fairness, buds showing up on bushes behind my house. But I don't have forsythia bushes here. I miss those bursts of color in the springtime. Every season has signs like that. Every single solitary seasons. That's a natural representation of the order that's at work in nature, for example. Order, divine order. Order is the very heart of nature. There are evidences of order everywhere around us. I told you over and again, I'm sure, that I live on a pond. And sometimes I watch an osprey come in and pick up a newborn baby duckling and carry it off. And it's difficult to watch, but that's order, right? That is an example of divine order. I just have to get over myself and remind myself when I see it happen. Order is the very framework, the very structure, pattern, the sequence of the heart of everything that lives, of life itself. In her book, Divine Audacity, Reverend Linda says this. She says, each of us by nature is capable of turning to the intelligent order that is the framework, structure, pattern, and sequence at the heart of life. We can organize our thoughts. We can organize our words and our actions in concert with divine order. Even in the small details of our lives, like dress, conversation, eating, sleeping, and working, system and order enable us to live a richer, fuller life. Inherent in divine order is adjustment. We use divine order to make adjustments. We course correct, don't we? In our thinking, in our actions, and even in our words. Reverend Linda goes on to say, our ability to adjust is a rich spiritual resource for us. Activating our power to adjust, we literally change our energy. We literally change our energy. Finally, divine order propels evolution itself, friends. Evolution is constantly taking place in an orderly fashion, even when it doesn't look like that to us. Our natures are ever evolving. You are not the same person now you were 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 15 or 20 or more. I'm not the same person right now that I was 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Our very nature evolves in an orderly fashion. How do we evolve? What's it look like? Well, it's very simple and it's very practical. Part of the answer was in the meditation I shared with you earlier. I love this idea. It's Reverend Linda's, actually. And not her idea originally, but these are her words. We incorporate all the best of our past, into our present and reach forward into the future with the intention of expressing our Christ nature more fully. That's how we evolve. Once we're awakened to the fact that that's what evolution is, that's how we evolve. We do it naturally all the time. In his letter to early Christians, Paul said that he used a phrase that's repeated often by so many people, Christ in you, the hope of glory. Christ in you, the hope of glory. You've heard that expression. Christ in you, the hope of glory. The Christ nature that is our essence, that is inherently available to us, that's waiting to be our fullest, to express itself fully as us, as each of us, with our own personalities. That nature is constantly like tapping at the door, at the window, wanting to get out, wanting to be expressed. And as we awaken to the fact that that's going on and allow it to happen, we become brighter. We become more positive. We become more hopeful. We become more loving. And it's miraculous that it works that way. Miraculous. But thank God it does, right? Christ in us, the hope of glory, is the truth, friends. So I have an affirmation that I want to share with you, and I'm going to ask you to say it with me if you would. I catch divine ideas and bring them into manifestation by the spiritual power of order. Order. Don't forget about order. And a couple of things before I leave the platform. A lot of churches are moving into a book study program for the fall. That's pretty customary. And I'm not going to suggest that we divide into small groups and do book studies quite that way this year. Hopefully we'll return to that next year, but this year let's not do that. But I am going to start to speak from a book next Sunday, and it's called The Book of Joy. And I chose that on purpose because we need it. If ever we needed joy in our lives, it's right now. I bought the book a couple of months ago, and it is an incredible book. Two of my favorite people, Desmond Tutu, and the Dalai Lama, spent a couple of weeks together at Dharamsala to celebrate the Dalai Lama's birthday. And they invited a dear friend of theirs who's been following their work for years and years and years to record every single solitary conversation that they had, because their intention was to give the world a gift. Their intention was to answer this question once and for all. How do you find joy? How do you find joy in the midst of the most yucky, the yuckiest, most horrible things going on imaginable? How do you find joy? And then how do you feel it, and how do you stay with it? How do you do that, and why? The book is amazing. You can hear the two of them giggling all throughout the book during their conversation. So if you want to get the book, go ahead and do it. You certainly don't have to. I'm going to be sharing bits and pieces of it with you for a couple weeks, The Book of Joy. So I thought I'd let you know that. The other thing that's going on is that we're going to do a prosperity program here in the church. Most churches do one in the fall. This church will be no exception. So starting in October, I'm going to bring a program called Absolute Abundance to you. It's the best prosperity program I've ever taught, and I think I've taught them all. This is by far the best one. When I shared it up in Ormond Beach, up in Daytona rather, we had a huge number of people sign up, and they stayed with it, and they loved it. They loved it. It's interactive, it has videos, it has music, it has all kinds of stuff for us to do together. And it dives into truths with a capital T in a way that I've never seen done before. So today, when the service is over, you're going to find me at a table in the lobby. So I want to sign you up, and I'll answer all your questions about the program. And I'll be there every week for the next 3 weeks. So it's going to be hard to get by me without signing up. I'm doing it intentionally, you know. You have to have a very good reason not to sign up. We're going to do it on Saturday mornings right here from 10 to noon. We'll have coffee, and if you want to bring something to share, that'd be okay too, but it's not required. Saturday mornings for 6 weeks, starting in October. That's it. I love you. Bye for now.
doesn't serve me anyway. Didn't know the pain inside, it could turn so physical. Time pass, pain lasts, wounds real but heal. This time I let go and live. Let go and live.
Time to move on. Life is short. Thankful for His saving grace. God has spoken loud and clear. There's so much more to give.
Time pass, wounds heal, wounds heal. This time I let go and live. Let go and live. Pain pass, pain lasts, wounds real but heal. This time I let go and live. 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 And live.
Thank you, Jeff and Linda. Thank you, Reverend Linda. Now is the time in the service when we take out our tithes and offerings. We hold them in our hand, bless them with our energy as we say together, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love because I love to give. Who was greeter today? Lana, right? Our prayer chaplain today is Eve Tonka back there. She'll be over here after the service if you would like to share some affirmative prayer with her. Bible study is Monday evenings at 7, but not tomorrow because it's Labor Day. We'll resume next Monday. Spiritual discussion is on hold for September. We'll be back. Lana's back in town, so chair yoga is going to happen Wednesday at 10 right here. Prayer circle is Thursday. Are we going we start at 11 as normal, or you want to start later?
At noon is when we're going to join them, so it's up to you.
Okay. So what about saying like start gathering at 11:30 so that you're here in time to, we're here in time. Okay. So this Thursday, normally it's 11, but this Thursday it'll be 11:30. And we're going to join with UWM, Unity Worldwide Ministries, for their World Day of Prayer at noon. Miracle moments. Come on, you all have them. Start sharing them. Continue to share them, I should say. And if you're too camera shy, you can do audio only. Just talked about that. Absolute abundance. You're not getting out of here without talking to Reverend Linda. So next Sunday will be Reverend Linda. Mr. Shepherd, do you have any announcements?
Yes, the choir will be meeting this Thursday at 6 o'clock. Be there with a voice. Or just be there.
Thanks to everybody who had any part in the service today. And I just want to say special thanks to Jada for doing the Daily Word for the first time. And now would you please stand and, oh, sorry, no. Creator of all that is, we bless each one of these offerings to your use through Unity of St. Lucie. We bless each person who gave. And we bless all the people represented in the prayer box and in our hearts and around the world. We see them all surrounded in your love and comfort and peace. And so it is. Amen. Thank you. And now would you stand and join us in our peace song? The light of God